two-part question. One is just talking about like what you guys have foundationally that makes this different, and then where is it heading?
On the foundational side, it's pretty straightforward. It's like the simple things are hard to build, but it's like, number one, you got to have access to all of the data in your organization. Once you have all the data organized into a place where it's consistently structured and the AI knows how to access it, then the data has to be properly permissed. Like it has to have permissions wrapped around it so that the people who are trying to access it can only access the data that they have permissions to access, which by itself is no small thing because the agent has to inherit your permissions and then traverse the system in a way that's very safe. And at some level, it has to understand its own permissions so that it can ask questions about its own permissions. But that presents really interesting ethical issues. Like, do you want to disclose to the agent that it doesn't have this permission that someone else has? And what if the agent discloses that to the user and then the user goes to the other human being and says, hey, how come you can do this and I can't do this in the system? And now there's conflict at work because the agent sort of overshared its context. Really, but then like the agent won't really perform well if it doesn't understand why it can't do something. So it's like super interesting little, how do you got to think these problems through really carefully. So in our permissioning infrastructure, which wraps around all the data, it manages that kind of complexity. And then once all of that stuff is organized in the right way, you need this other really difficult thing, which is you need metadata. You need information about the data. So when I look at a line, like a field in the system, Rippling comes out of the box with 25,000 pre-configured fields. You're not going to use all of them, but the agent can see all of them. And so when you ask something like, hey, what is this person's compensation? It's like, ooh, do we mean base salary? Do we mean hourly wage? Well, we got to think about that, and we got to look at whether this person is an exempt or non-exempt employee and then decide which fields are appropriate. And like to do that, you got to have a ton of information, example use cases that you can literally explain in plain English to the agent so it understands the meaning of these different fields. And so number one, you got to have the data all in one place, consistently structured. Number two, you got to wrap it all in permissions. And number three, you got to put metadata on top of that information so that the agent can understand what it's looking at. And we've been building this for years at Rippling for our data cloud product, which is forthcoming. And we sort of got lucky that we had that infrastructure when we started chewing on these AI capabilities.